Imagine a moment in hockey history so electrifying that even the great one, Wayne Gretzky, couldn't help but marvel. Yes, there was a play by Mario Lemieux that left Gretzky and the entire hockey world in awe. The 1987 Canada Cup, a legendary duo, forms. In the summer of 1987, the Canada Cup brought together the finest hockey talents from around the globe. For Canadian fans, the tournament held a special allure. Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, the nation's brightest stars, were set to play together for the first time. Gretzky, already a household name with multiple NHL records, was the seasoned maestro. Lemieux, though younger, had quickly risen to prominence with his exceptional skill and scoring ability. The anticipation was palpable. Fans and analysts alike speculated on how these two superstars would gel on the ice. Would their individual brilliance translate into cohesive teamwork? The answer came swiftly. Throughout the tournament, Gretzky and Lemieux showcased a chemistry that seemed almost otherworldly. Gretzky's vision and playmaking abilities perfectly complemented Lemieux's scoring prowess. They orchestrated plays that left opponents scrambling, spectators cheering, but it was during the final game against the Soviet Union that their partnership reached its zenith. With the series tied and the championship on the line, the game was a nail-biter. Every move, every pass, every shot carried immense weight. In the dying moments of the game, with the score knotted at 5-5, Gretzky seized the puck and led a rush into the Soviet zone. Drawing defenders towards him with his deft stick handling, he spotted Lemieux trailing the play. With a perfectly timed pass, Gretzky set up Lemieux, who, with the poise of a seasoned sniper, fired the puck into the net. The crowd erupted. Canada had clinched the championship, and the Gretzky-Lemieux duo had etched their names into hockey lore. This goal wasn't just a testament to their individual talents, but also to their unparalleled synergy. Even years later, Gretzky would reflect on that play, acknowledging its brilliance and the unique connection he shared with Lemieux during that tournament. The 1987 Canada Cup didn't just showcase two of hockey's greatest players. It highlighted a partnership that, albeit brief, was nothing short of magical. Wayne Gretzky had seen it all. Great goals, incredible plays, and legendary moments. But there was one particular move by Mario Lemieux that he admitted was simply unstoppable. After their unforgettable partnership in the 1987 Canada Cup, Gretzky developed a deep respect for Lemieux's unique style. While Gretzky was the master of vision and finesse, Lemieux had something that made him truly different: sheer power combined with extraordinary skill. One play in particular stood out to Gretzky. It was a sequence Lemieux perfected during his time with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and no defender seemed capable of stopping it. Lemieux, standing at 6 feet 4 inches, had a way of using his size, speed, and reach to make defenders look helpless. Here's how it worked. Lemieux would take the puck in stride, usually near the blue line. Instead of weaving through defenders, he would push the puck just far enough ahead to get them to commit. Then, with his long reach, he'd pull the puck back, step around the defenseman, and power his way toward the net. Goaltenders had almost no chance. His hands were too fast and his shot was too accurate. Gretzky, despite being the most dominant playmaker in hockey history, had never seen anything quite like it. He once admitted that when Lemieux was in full flight, there was almost no way to defend him. His combination of size, reach, and soft hands made him a nightmare for any opponent. But what made Lemieux's move truly terrifying was his ability to execute it under pressure. In the 1991 Stanley Cup Final against the Minnesota North Stars, he used this exact play to score one of the most jaw-dropping goals in NHL history. He took the puck from his own blue line, split two defenders in one motion, and coolly deked the goalie before sliding the puck in. Even Gretzky, watching from afar, had to admit it was a goal only Lemieux could score, and that's what made him truly unstoppable. Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux weren't just the two greatest players of their era. They were complete opposites in style, yet equally unstoppable. Their rivalry wasn't built on personal grudges, but on the fact that every hockey fan, analyst, and player debated one question: who was truly the best? Gretzky was the ultimate playmaker, a genius on the ice who saw the game unfold before anyone else. Lemieux, on the other hand, was a force of nature, stronger, faster, and capable of scoring goals in ways no one had ever seen. While Gretzky dominated the 1980s with the Edmonton Oilers, Lemieux was rising fast with the Pittsburgh Penguins, setting up a collision course that would define the NHL. Their first true showdown came in the 1988-89 season. Gretzky had been traded to the Los Angeles Kings and Lemieux was reaching his prime. That year, Lemieux did the unthinkable he outscored Gretzky, finishing the season with an astonishing 199 points. For the first time, the Great One had been dethroned, but it wasn't just about numbers. Every time they faced off, the atmosphere was electric. Gretzky's Kings and Lemieux's Penguins were two teams on different trajectories, one led by the man who had dominated the past decade, the other by the man who was redefining what was possible in hockey. Their battles became legendary, but what made their rivalry special was the mutual respect. Gretzky once said that if he had Lemieux's size, he would have scored 1,000 goals. Lemieux, in return, always credited Gretzky for inspiring his play. Yet, as the 1990s unfolded, something shocking happened. Lemieux's career was suddenly in danger. Injuries and illness threatened to cut his dominance short, leaving fans wondering, was this rivalry ending too soon? Mario Lemieux was on top of the hockey world. He had dethroned Gretzky as the league's top scorer, led the Penguins to dominance, and was making a case as the greatest player ever. But just as he was cementing his legacy, something happened that no one saw coming. His body started breaking down. By the early 1990s, Lemieux was constantly battling injuries. His back was in terrible shape, forcing him to miss games and even undergo surgery. But then came the real shock. Doctors diagnosed him with Hodgkin's lymphoma, a type of cancer. At just 27 years old, in the middle of his prime, Lemieux wasn't just fighting for his career, he was fighting for his life. The news stunned the hockey world. Fans, players, and even Gretzky himself were in disbelief. This was the guy who could do things on the ice no one else could, and now he was forced into a battle that had nothing to do with hockey. While undergoing radiation treatment, Lemieux had to step away from the game, leaving everyone wondering if they'd ever see him dominate again. But in true Lemieux fashion, he did something no one expected. On March 2nd, 1993, the same day he finished his last cancer treatment, he flew to Philadelphia and suited up for a game against the Flyers. The crowd, including opposing fans, gave him a standing ovation. Then, as if to remind everyone who he was, he scored a goal and added an assist that night. Lemieux didn't just return, he went on an absolute tear. He finished the season with 160 points in just 60 games, nearly stealing another scoring title despite missing 2 months. Even Gretzky admitted what he did after coming back from cancer was beyond incredible. But despite his heroic return, Lemieux's body was still struggling. Was this the beginning of the end for one of hockey's greatest icons? Despite his unbelievable comeback, Mario Lemieux's body was still paying the price. The years of battling injuries, multiple surgeries, and the toll of cancer treatments had worn him down. By the mid-90s, he was missing more games than ever. And even when he played, the pain was unbearable. Then, in 1997, he made the decision that shocked the hockey world. He retired. At just 31 years old in what should have been the middle of his prime, Lemieux walked away from the game. Fans couldn't believe it. This was the man who challenged Gretzky, who had rewritten what was possible on the ice, and now he was gone. Meanwhile, Wayne Gretzky was nearing the end of his own legendary career. After leaving the Oilers, he had stints with the Kings, Blues, and finally the New York Rangers. But as much as he tried, he could never recapture the magic of his Edmonton days. The game was changing, and even the Great One couldn't outrun time. Yet, through it all, Gretzky always spoke about how much he respected Lemieux. He admitted that if Mario had stayed healthy, he could have been the one breaking all the records. If he played as long as I did, there's no doubt he would have scored the most points in history, Gretzky once said. But just when it seemed like Lemieux's story was over, something unbelievable happened. In 1999, the Pittsburgh Penguins were in financial trouble. The franchise was on the verge of bankruptcy, and there were rumors the team could be moved or even shut down. Lemieux, who was still owed millions in unpaid salary, did something no one saw coming. He bought the team. Now, instead of just being a former player, Lemieux was the owner of the Penguins. But what happened next was even crazier. Owning the Penguins wasn't enough for Mario Lemieux. In 2000, he did something that left the hockey world speechless. He came out of retirement and returned to the ice as a player owner. No one had ever done this before. After being away for over 3 years, battling injuries and health issues, Lemieux laced up his skates again. And just like before, he didn't just return, he dominated. In his very first game back, he scored a goal and added 2 assists. It was like he had never left. Even Wayne Gretzky, who had retired the year before, was stunned. He called Lemieux's return one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in hockey. 35 years old, after everything he had been through, Lemieux was still unstoppable. For the next few seasons, he continued to amaze. He mentored a young Sidney Crosby, helped keep the Penguins alive, and further cemented his status as one of the greatest ever. Even though he eventually retired for good in 2006, his impact on the game never faded. As for Wayne Gretzky, his legacy was already secured. No one would ever touch his records, and he remained the face of hockey worldwide. But even he admitted that Lemieux was the most naturally gifted player he had ever seen. The debate between Gretzky and Lemieux will never have a clear answer. Gretzky has the numbers, the records, and the championships, but Lemieux had the most raw talent, overcoming impossible odds to dominate at the highest level. What's certain is that hockey was never the same after these two. They pushed each other, made each other better, and gave fans moments that will never be forgotten. Whether you think Gretzky was the greatest or believe Lemieux had the higher peak, one thing is undeniable: these two changed the game forever. Which side are you on, Gretzky or Lemieux? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more legendary hockey stories.